The USA, China, and the European Union could hypothetically act as mediators between Russia and Ukraine, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said.
Prime Minister Orban was in Kyiv and then flew to Moscow. I had no idea he was flying to Moscow. It was his choice. As for whether he could be an intermediary, there is no mediation between Russia and Ukraine. Only serious, strong alliances, including countries such as United States and China, can mediate between Ukraine and Russia. Not any one country in the EU, but the whole EU. It can really be such a mediation mission.
On July 2nd, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban came to Kyiv to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. He offered to consider a ceasefire to start peace talks with the aggressor. The office of the President of Ukraine rejected this proposal. And already on July 5th, Orban went to Moscow as part of the so-called peacekeeping mission.
I would like to get to know your stance in a few issues which are important for Europe.
On July 8th, the Hungarian Prime Minister met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. The main topic of the talks, according to Orban himself, was finding a way to end Russia's war against Ukraine. The details of the talks are not available. According to the Chinese state news agency Xinhua, Xi Jinping said that an early ceasefire and a political settlement were in the interest of all sides. Notably, Orban's visit to Beijing came days before the NATO summit. Analysts at the US-based Institute for the Study of War believe that Orban's true goal is not peace talks at all. He seeks to undermine support for Ukraine. European leaders emphasized that the Hungarian Prime Minister had not informed them of his plans to visit Moscow and Beijing. He did not coordinate his actions with the EU. According to the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, such appeasements will not stop Putin, and NATO pledged to step up support for Ukraine.
He made it clear when he came to Moscow that he didn't go there on behalf of NATO. Different NATO allies interact with Moscow in different ways. What matters for me is that all allies have agreed that we need to do more for Ukraine, both with this new training and assistance that NATO will provide to Ukraine, but also with the long-term pledge. And I also expect that by the summit that starts next week, allies will make new announcements of more air defense and more ammunition.
The White House assured that there would be several serious steps to strengthen Ukraine's air defense at the NATO summit in Washington.
Sadly, this is par for the course for Mr. Putin to hit civilian infrastructure, and he doesn't care whether he's hitting hospitals or residential buildings. I can't draw the line that this is some sort of message. But look, I mean, as I said, what you're going to see over the course of the week is a very set of strong signals and messages to Mr. Putin that he can't wait NATO out, can't wait the United States out, that we're going to continue to support Ukraine.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi traveled to Moscow to persuade Putin to stop the war against Ukraine, the Indian mass media reported. During his meeting with the Kremlin dictator, he asked him to release from service dozens of Indian citizens whom China had recruited and sent to the front line. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy reacted to Modi's visit to Moscow. According to him, it is a crushing blow to peace efforts. The leader of the world's largest democracy embraces the world's worst criminal, wrote Volodymyr Zelenskyy in social network X. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Krystyna Dombrovska, UATV News.